Hi, Bill Johnson, Featherweight guy. Thought it might be fun to just give you a quick tour of the workshop space that I do my work on these featherweights in. This is in the basement of our home. This is a space that I originally set up to work on clocks. The interesting thing is that virtually all of the equipment and tools and space that I need for clocks is virtually identical to the needs for working on sewing machines. So it was a very, very easy transition for me to move from clocks to sewing machines. So let me give you a tour. This is a table I can set up and take down easily. It's just on sawhorses with a separate top. I often have this set up, and this is where I typically do disassembly. It's my biggest flat work surface, so when I'm taking things apart, I have enough room to do my work here. Let me show you the other parts of the shop. The heart of my workshop is, of course, my workbench. This is where I do all the detail work, the assembly work on my machines. I have it set up so that all the things I need are within easy reach. I have here on the shelf the various oils and lubricants and glues and so forth that I use. Over here I've got assortments of screws and fasteners. Of course, blue shop towels, use a lot of those. As I'm working, I keep parts in these magnetic dishes. I've got 3 of them. That's very handy. I do my work on one of these rotary cutting mats. These are great. They don't scratch the finishes on anything on the sewing machine, and I can take it over to the sink and wash it when it gets dirty. Of course, every sewing machine mechanic has a Chapman screwdriver set, as of course I do. My main, most commonly used tools are here in this tool chest. In the top, I've got hammers and various pin punches, picks, knives, that sort of thing. My top drawer is all screwdrivers, the straight-bladed ones on the left, which is, of course, all you use on a vintage Singer machine. These are Phillips on the right. And I've got the micro-sized screwdrivers here in the center. I'm a big fan of these Vera screwdrivers. They're very high quality. I've got them all arranged in size order here, and that's my mainstay screwdrivers. In the center, I've got all the different pliers and cutters and needle nose and so forth that I use, along with tweezers for picking up small parts. And in the bottom, I've got wrenches, my wiring, stripping tools, some sockets, a little mini ratchet that I use to take out the screws, like where the throat plate is, and the feed dog screws in particular. You need a small ratchet to get underneath there, so that's all here. Down on the floor here is a mechanics tool chest. That's a little probably out of the camera view here, but this mechanics tool chest I can wheel over, and it's got a lot more small tools in it. You'll see I have a cordless rotary tool, and I have a second one that's a corded one. This one I keep the felt polishing tips in, all the different bits I use, and this is the compound to charge the felt tips for polishing. And I generally have one of a couple of different size wire wheels in the cordless one. So this is, again, my main work area. I do have on this end as my soldering equipment, and electrical supplies are over here. You'll see this is actually a clock movement that I've been working on, and these are movement stands, so I still do some clock work in here. Of course, an electric meter for testing the electrical components. And let me swing the camera and show you over on the other workspace. So what's behind me when I'm at the workbench is the secondary bench. Here I've got a small machine lathe. This is actually more useful for clock work than for sewing machine work, but I have one very important use for it. When I'm working on sewing machine motors, I want to polish the commutator, and sometimes the commutator is unevenly worn, and I can actually recut it to a clean surface using this machine lathe. So I'll chuck the motor into this 4-jaw chuck, and then I can do the polishing of the commutators with the commutator spinning. These are actually foam. You can see if I put one together. These are those foam nail files that I buy, and actually cut them in half so that they are the width of the commutator bar. So when this is spinning in the lathe, this is 1,000 grit on one side and 4,000 on the other, so I can get a very high polish on my commutators that way. These other tools, this is for putting bushings in clocks. And this is a mainspring winder for clocks. But underneath the bench, this is all full of sewing machine parts here. And this little smaller drawer unit are all smaller sewing machine parts and electrical connector parts here. So still a lot of sewing equipment here. I also use this small vise quite a bit. And I have a small machinist vise that sees wide use as well. Coming around here, this is really one of the mainstays of my shop. It's a heavy-duty sink. It's actually made of cast concrete, and this was originally the laundry equipment in this house. It probably dates to around 1900 or so. This house was built in 1889, and it did not have indoor plumbing when it was built in 1889. But later on, plumbing was added, and there was laundry equipment in the basement. And this is state-of-the-art 1900 laundry equipment. But I use this sink all the time. I have wire racks that I can take on and off. It's a double bowl sink, and I actually, when I'm working with things like kerosene to clean the inside of the sewing machines, I do it actually inside the sink, so I'm not splashing anything elsewhere. Okay, now I'm actually on the other side of the shop, opposite the sink. My workbench is right over here. This is my cleaning equipment. So on this shelf here, I have 2 ultrasonic cleaners. When I'm working on clocks, this one would have a wash solution and this one would have a rinse solution. When I'm working on sewing machines, they both have, I use the same cleaning solution I use for clocks, which works really, really well. And what I ended up doing is, because I have 2 of these, I can kind of do a pre-wash, get the worst of the dirt off in one machine, and then do a finish wash in the second machine. That way I'm not really dirtying up 2 batches of cleaner. So then I can recycle when this one finally gets dirty, I move it into this machine and put fresh solution here. This is actually a parts dryer. This is super handy. When I'm cleaning with the ultrasonic, I take the parts over and rinse them with hot water, and then they immediately go into this parts dryer. What this has is a heating element and a fan. So it's blowing hot air into this box, and I can determine the heat in here by how far open or closed I keep the front door. And so I'm immediately able to get all of the residue water and cleaning solutions out of the parts immediately with hot air, which is great, because if you don't do that, you're subject to getting flash rust on the metal parts. So this is my cleaning station over. And just to finish the shop tour, the camera is now about where I normally sit at my workbench, so you're looking at the other side of the shop. Here's the edge of that sink where I do my washing work. I've got another set of wire shelves and places to keep the different solutions that I use, kerosene that I clean parts with. I actually created a little bottle with a squirt top for rinsing with kerosene. And then over here I have a variety of finishing supplies that I use, polishing and finishing equipment over here. So that's basically it. This is the space that represents the workshop of Featherweight Guy. Thank you.